Hello guys, Joker the Fool here, and this is my overview of Inglorious Rex. This is one of the flagship comics from Nine Lives Comics. Of course, it's an indie comic company by husband and wife team Shane Davis and Yanzi Lin. So this overview here is going to cover the first two volumes as well as a supplemental story with two stories, Mission Control and Anatomic Control. But we're going to get right into the first issue here. So now Glorious Rex covers Nate Stone, and Nate Stone is this, I guess, boxer character who lives in the fictional, I guess, post-apocalyptic and sci-fi Arc City. You think of something like Attack on Titan, where you've got the Titans that terrorize humanity, and they have to hole up into the cities with the walls. Arc City's kind of like that, but instead of Titans, you've got these monsters called Vile. You think of like the Zerg from StarCraft or the Spawn from Halo, kind of that vibe there. And the means of entertainment will cover on through that. The means of entertainment is through Rex fighting. So Rex fighting is organized by Little T. So Little T is the, I'd say, main antagonist of the series. He's the one who kind of is the mastermind behind the scenes. You know, think of like Lex Luthor, Darren Fontano. He doesn't have powers. He's not the one who's doing the fighting. He's just controlling the character, or he's the one pulling the strings because he has all the power and influence, and that influence is organizing these Rex fights where you have these fighters get cloned, and the clones are these massive monsters called Rexes, and they're pitted against each other, where the human fighters use a neural suit to control them. You see the two Rexes here. So this is, I believe, Razor. That's 232. Those are the two of the main Rexes, and then you can see in this cover you've got Anatomic's suit, that neural suit that provides the connection to her Rex. But it's a pretty, I would say the art is actually really good. It's probably the best part of this series. It's all drawn really well. It's mostly panels like these. You don't see too many page spreads or too many spreads or grandiose scenes. Eric Weathers is the letterer for everything on this, and it does an absolutely fantastic job. He's a great letterer in indie comics, but all the art feels like it hits pretty well. All the character designs are pretty consistent. And the one thing in terms of characterization that I dislike is Little T. And it's not so much, it's a little bit, I'd say, forced with the way his lettering is done. What's not too bad in the first book, but in the second one, I think the way that his accent is forced into lettering, this is one of the two-page spreads at the end, is pretty epic. But the way his lettering is done, or his dialogue is presented, forces him into having an accent that doesn't really fit with the rest of everything. It's kind of like this Jamaican Creole accent, and the fact that this takes place in like a desolate future post-apocalyptic sci-fi city, it feels like if his lettering was just like everybody else's and you just had his character voiced in your head the way you do for every other character, just forces him into sounding a way that I don't think he would sound in this world. And that's the one big thing that I have with this. Everything else, I'd say, is presented well. You got a good mix of world building, characterization, and of course, action as well. Whether you're talking about action between like the files here, or you're talking about like the actual fights themselves. And of course, you've got plenty of downtime scenes for the characterization to happen. So I definitely think in the mainline story for Inglorious Rex, it's actually pretty solid. Some things don't connect the best, especially with the supplemental story, and I guess we can get into that here. So this is the supplemental story that I have with Mission Control and Anatomic Connection. And the Mission Control story is kind of like, think of an Alien kind of story. And this is really well done art. So you got Shane Davis and Yanzi Lin, who are the artists, they're the pencilers and inkers, but Antonio Mastrilla and Shelby Robertson are the artists for these two side stories, and they fit in really well with Yanzi and Shane's art. This mission control story does link into volume 2 a little bit, so there is this sense of cohesion and connection in the world of Arc City that I definitely appreciate in these stories. Not these stories actually do meaningfully add to the lore of the main line story that's being told. And of course, Anatomic Connection is the origin story for this character, Anatomic, and she is the girlfriend of Alex Stone. Alex Stone being the main character in the mainline story who takes on the Rex 232 that is from his older brother who was killed in a fight against another Rex called Rune. And that's the first main story, is that fight and him stepping into that role. So you've got this coming of age story, you've got this wrestling with monsters, and of course you've got this post-apocalyptic threat as well. So it's all melded together and mixes quite well, better than I honestly think it would be if you just pitched this idea to me where you said, "Oh, we're going to have like a post-apocalyptic city that's, you know, got this sci-fi scent to it. We're going to have monster wrestling, and we're going to have a younger brother stepping into the role of his older brother." That on paper sounds like it might be, juggling too much. You might have too many eggs in the basket, but it all works out pretty well. And these supplemental stories, this one for Anatomic, giving more context to her character because she is pretty big in this mainline series, as well as the Mission Control, which does hint at a storyline that is getting concluded starting in issue 2, because the fallout from the Mission Control story is shown to happen in volume 2. So that does give you some nice context for those who read the story, then read volume 2. So the supplemental stories actually do their job in adding to the mainline story. That's not always the case with stories like that, but this is actually a pretty good showing. It's solid writing. It's definitely really solid art. It's got a classic comic book feel. Shane and Yanzi really do well in presenting, like I said, the character designs and the pencils and the inks all really sync together quite well. And I'd say nothing looks out of place, nothing looks bad, and everything does look like just a high quality comic book. And of course, like I said, the lettering from Eric Weathers really brings everything together, and Jason Wright's the colorist on all of this work, and he does a really fantastic job. And of course, since he's coloring everything, it helps keep with that consistency. The style feels really consistent. It definitely feels like Arc City is this world that you know, even though you don't know the most about it and don't know everything. There is a sense of coherency to everything, so you can make sense of it. And of course, like I said, that coming of age story, the classic. You've got the younger brother who's trying to live up to the shadow, or living in the shadow of his older brother. It's relatable, it's a classic storyline, and it helps ground the more fantastical and sci-fi elements of the story. But that is my overview of Inglorious Rex. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the ramble. My reviews are always very rambly, but if you bore with me throughout it, I appreciate that so much. Of course, you can check out the channel for more reviews of comics like these, or you can just not watch anything again. It's your call, and I'm fine with either. But thank you so much for watching. Joker is out. Thank you for stopping by the Velvet Room. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you can keep up with Velvet Room Publishing, and go to velvetroompublishing.com if you want to go even deeper into the Velvet Room.